What's going on, guys? I want to do a story time video for you today, and I'm reminiscing about cars. I was looking through some old folders on my computer, trying to clean up a little bit, and I came across some old pictures of some cars I used to have. And I figured, what an awesome idea for a story time video. Now, for this video, I feel like doing a slideshow presentation, not only because there's so many pictures I wanted to show you anyway, but honestly, just don't feel like being on camera right now. And anyone who makes videos all the time knows exactly what I'm talking about. Sometimes you're ready for it, sometimes not so much. So this is mostly audio. You can kind of listen to this while you're doing other things, kind of like a radio show. Only if you want to reference what I'm talking about, you obviously can watch the video as well and see all the pictures of the cars that I'm talking about. So what I want to do is talk about all my vehicles that I've personally owned from the very first one to what I'm driving today. I'm going to go in order, tell you all about the cars, give you some memories, things that pop in my head when I'm thinking about these cars, and my experiences with them, why I got rid of them, and so forth. So I'm just going to start off this video talking about my very first car. I got this car for Christmas on my 17th birthday when I got my license. When I was in school, we had a driver's ed class, which pretty much everyone took, and then you can, take your test in the class, then you actually go and take your driver's test, and you get your driver's license. It was very, very cool. It's obviously a big deal in everyone's life. Not everyone is super into getting their license. I mean, I know a lot of people from the city that use public transportation so much that you don't even need a car. And in some cases, it doesn't make sense to have a car. It's too expensive and just easier to get around with the bus and taxis and stuff. But for me, being out in the country, getting your license was a huge, huge deal. All my friends lived anywhere from 5 miles away to 30 miles away. So I couldn't really walk to my friend's house. I did ride my bike a lot. But somehow I was still a chubby kid. I did get a lot of exercise. I guess I just made up for it with food. But anyway, back to the cars. My very first car was a 1990 Pontiac Grand Prix. It had a 3.4 liter V6 in it. Super stealthy. I love the car. You see here it's burgundy with some gray accents on it. Had a gray interior. I loved this car. Obviously, it was my first car. I'll always remember my first car, as most people do. I got it for Christmas. My parents surprised me in the coolest way ever. Basically, I was going through all my presents, and in my stocking, I had a little box, and I didn't know what it was. It looked like a jewelry box for a ring or something. And I opened it up, and it was the key. It was a driver key. And I looked at my parents, and I swear I had no idea that they were going to get me a car. I had no no inkling whatsoever that I would get a car for Christmas. Not only is it a huge gift, but, we didn't have a whole lot of money. So it was a total shock. And when I saw the key, I was kind of dumb. Like, what's this for? What am I going to use a key for? And they're like, why don't you look out in the driveway? And as I'm like walking through the house, through the living room and through the kitchen and about to look outside, it kind of hits me like, duh, this is probably a car. I have my license now. And I saw it out in the driveway, and I screamed like a little girl, and it was wonderful. I ran outside. It was freezing out. It was probably like 10 degrees out, and I sat in the car in my pajamas for probably 2 hours, just sitting there, smiling as big as I could possibly smile. My face was sore from smiling. It was just really cool. My father's friend, John Kay, who he knew, actually had the car in his driveway down the street for like a month because my dad and my mother and father bought it, way ahead of time, and they couldn't store it obviously anywhere where I can see it. So he had it in his driveway for a long time. So super cool of him to do that for my dad. And they put a big old bow on it, just like you see in the commercials. So super cool, awesome, fond memory that I'll just never forget. Obviously, most people remember their first cars, but it was extra special to me, and it was super cool. So I love that car. I had that all through high school. It was great. It had a lot of power, but it wasn't too much. My father, when I had my license, he had a 95 Mustang, and it was pretty souped up, and he actually ended up getting rid of it, knowing that if I ended up with that car, I'd probably kill myself. But honestly, the Pontiac, to me, it was a really good first car. It was big and heavy. I never got into an accident, but if I did, I'm pretty sure that I'd be just fine through any kind of fender benders. I remember the doors on this thing were massive, huge steel doors. A couple times it shut on me. I was leaning in the car to get something real quick. The door would just shut because of the weight of it, and it hit my ankle up against the frame of the car, and I thought I broke my ankle. It's friggin' heavy. But you know, my father was very comfortable with it being kind of a safe car for me, and having a little power. So you know, it's his boy. He knows that I wanted a cool car, and I just couldn't have been happy with it. It was awesome. So you know, since I had the car, I played around, put a cool stereo system in it, put a huge bass in the back. God, I remember a couple times because I used to carpool all the time with my friends. I took my friends to school. I always liked driving. I was never a good passenger. I'm definitely much more happier in the driver's seat than getting a ride. Especially just it's a control thing. I just like being in control in a vehicle, and especially being a teenager. You know, some of my friends they might be drinking or smoking some weed or something, and I really don't trust anyone driving like that at all. I would never take that chance. So I was always the guy driving, and my friends would always give me gas money. But I remember a couple times I had a huge bass in the back, of course, just being a dumb kid. And I remember there was this kid, Nigel, who we were friends with, and he was in the back seat, and he had to take a dump really, really bad. And we put on some music really, really loud in the back, and he shit his pants. And it was really funny because I mean, we play pranks on each other all the time. Don't feel bad for him. Oh my God, Jeff, you're horrible. And he did shit in his pants in my car. Okay, so it wasn't the smartest thing for me to do, but it was hilarious at the time. He's like, dude, I got to go to the bathroom so bad. I'm like, oh, we're almost there. And I took the long way and I put the music like way up. I think it was Nine Inch Nails. I want to F you like an animal. And it was just, boof, boof. It was just friggin' crazy. And he's like, I shit. And when he said, we were dying. I pulled over. We were laughing so hard. He's like, I shit my pants. But anyway, yeah, a lot of good memories in that car. I remember in high school, it was really common for people that in the parking lot, like in the senior parking lot, when the day was up and everyone was leaving, everyone had music blaring, and either it was hardcore rap or it was hardcore metal. Okay, so either screaming or just big bass and rap. And I was the only kid, me and my friends, that would put on some stuff that was just good classic rock music. In addition to that, I was always a jokester and I was always funny. I had all kinds of weird mixed CDs. I had Ron Jeremy porn music. I'd play really loud, women moaning. We always got looks. Besides that, I had like theme songs to Golden Girls and Three's Company and friggin' songs from Willy Wonka, you know, the Oompa Loompa song. We had a lot of good times in that car. I remember I used to leave school, and I talked about this in another Storytime video before, but we used to skip school on a couple free periods, and we drive to New York from Jersey, and we go up to this place, the Silver Shack, and look at pipes and incense and all kinds of crap like that. And we'd have to rush back, and we'd swing by McDonald's to get cookies to bribe our librarian. Absolutely ridiculous, but I have just a million and one memory. I can literally just make this whole video just about that car and what happened in that car. Uh, awesome stuff. But we're going to push forward and talk about the other ones. So, eventually, I don't remember what year, but I had that car for probably, I want to say 4 or 5 years. And then the transmission went. When the transmission went, I just did not have money to fix it. Parents couldn't really help me out at the time, just, you know, struggling with some bills. And so I ended up selling it to the guy across the street's friend who needed a car to get down to Florida. I don't know, some weird dude. And he had a mechanic, kind of just rigged it up so it would work okay. They never actually, you know, replaced the transmission. They kind of just jimmied it to work or just kind of fixed it. But it sounded clunky. And this guy's like, all right, see you later, go down to Florida. He was a really weird dude, actually. He was a tattoo artist. And I remember they had a party across the street, and my parents went to it. Thank God my parents got drugged, but they didn't get any tattoos. The guy across the street got a tattoo. And the tattoo artist was being paid in whiskey, Jack Daniels. And he gave the neighbor across the street the most ridiculous, retarded tattoo. It was so stupid. It was just a massive, like 9-inch block of black. It was supposed to be an American eagle with an American flag in the background, all in black and grayscale, and it was horrible. It was just one big blob, and oh my God. But anyway, Jesus, I have a whole story time I could just talk about when I was living in that place. Franklin, New Jersey, down Crack Alley. That'll be good for future Storytime videos. But anyway, yeah, after the Pontiac left, I was in the market for a new car. And my second car, I wanted something classy. And I ended up with something classy. I got a 1991 Lincoln Continental. This thing was awesome. It was an 8th generation Lincoln, and it had a 3.8 liter V6 in it. The thing had um, air suspension on it. It was sitting on bags, and that's actually the reason I bring that up, is because that's the reason why I sold the car, is because I knew that eventually some things would start happening with this car, and I couldn't afford it. I could afford the car because I saved up for it to buy it, but maintenance on a Cadillac or a Lincoln, especially with all the bells and whistles, it's a lot. It's a lot to maintain a car like that when it starts having some problems, especially when it's a little bit older. And this being a 91, it ran beautifully, but I ended up selling it about 2 years after I had it. Nothing happened to it. I think the only repair I did was the starter, which is pretty straightforward. But I just knew that I couldn't afford to maintain this car, so I ended up selling it so I can get something else. And but I love the car, and I drove it everywhere. This thing was super classy, felt like a limo, leather interior. I like the white. I love white cars. I've always had a thing for white cars. Um, it was just, massive trunk. It was like driving on a cloud. If you hit a pothole with this thing, not only would you not feel it, the car would just kind of, bounce a little bit, but you'd ride out that bounce for probably 30 seconds, It was ridiculous. It was the most comfortable car I've ever been in. And I do miss it quite a bit, but it was super classy. Then I had no car for, I think, a year or two. And then when I moved up to, this was all in Jersey, by the way, the Grand Prix and the Lincoln I had in Jersey. And then I was driving my parents' car. My dad had a Dodge Nina at the time. Mom had a Mercury, I want to say LeSabre or something. I don't know. But I was driving those cars on and off. I didn't have my own car. Then when I came to Pennsylvania, I needed a car. And I got myself another classy car, a 2002 Cadillac SLS. 4.6 liter V8. Thing was a beast. I did a video on it on YouTube, so you can reference that if you want to see all about the car. Super excited about it. Love the car, and it had nothing but problems. I got a good price on it, and there was an apparent reason why. It had a computer chip problem, and the battery was draining every day. It would turn the light on in the middle of the night, and I wake up, the battery was dead. It had every bell and whistle you can think of in this car. It was wonderful. It really was a dream to drive around in. Super classy. I mean, the thing, it was awesome. You can reference my video for everything that it had. I love the car, but I had too many problems. Could not afford the maintenance. So I'm revisiting this whole get a cool classy car and not be able to afford to maintain it. So I ended up doing a straight trade for a broken 2002 Cadillac SLS for a 1997 Honda Accord LX that was in perfect condition when I got it. And that was a really, really cool car. That was just a straight up trade at a dealer. I basically came in and said, look, I got this Cadillac. I know what its value is, but it's got some issues. I just want to trade it for something on your lot. Walked around the lot, fell in love with the Honda, and obviously new Honda engines are known to just go and go and go. And it was a trade. That was it, straight up. That was 2.2 liter 4-cylinder engine in the Honda. I did everything to this thing. I kind of went through, even though I wasn't a teenager anymore, I went through a teen phase of making the thing, a tuner car. Put a big, huge bore exhaust on it. Change out the taillights, the headlights, everything. Huge sound system in it. Big bass, just the whole deal. Everything that's annoying that when the car passes your road and you either hear that exhaust flying down or you hear that bass going. I did everything to it. It felt cool. It was stupid. A lot of people do it for a reason. They think it's cool, but you grow out of it. And I grew out of it. But I did like that car. I actually ended up wrecking it in the wintertime. It was actually a decent car to drive around in the winter, front-wheel drive. It wasn't bad in the snow, but I was going a little bit too fast around a turn, lost control, slammed into an embankment, and bent the frame. I didn't even hit it that hard. I mean, I was probably going 40, and I skidded a little bit. And when I actually hit the embankment, I was probably only doing 20 miles an hour. But anyone who's been to an accident, you don't have to be going very fast to really screw up your car. Luckily, knock on wood, I didn't hurt myself or anything. But knock on wood, like I'm going to hurt myself now from it. I don't know why I said that. But anyway, yeah, it looked fine, but the frame was twisted. And what I didn't know at the time was that there was a leak of radiator fluid. So, and then by the way, this all happened the morning of my first day at the mail job where I was doing not what I used to do, but I was doing a rural route in Greeley, Pennsylvania, and this is my first day to work, and this happens. I was freaking out. It was really scary and disappointing. I was angry and sad all at once. It was a crazy emotional day. I couldn't believe I just wrecked my car. I just got this job, and anyway, there was a leak of the radiator fluid, and I almost fried that entire engine by the time I got to work. It was running so hot. It was smoking, and so I mean, I opened my hood, smoke just poured out. I'm like, oh my god, what did I do? But anyway, got my work done for the day. Had a friend hook me up with a car, and after that, I was obviously in the market for a new vehicle. Now, since I just started a rural route, I needed to get a vehicle I can deliver mail in. So that leads me into my next vehicle. After the Honda was scrapped, it was sold. It was literally sold to be scrapped, and I got a 1997 Chevy Venture. So stuck with the same year car, but I went with a van. It it was working absolutely perfect for what I needed for. I'd be doing a mail job. Obviously had the cubic inches that I needed that was specified for the job. So it was perfect. I mean, it was a mom's soccer van, but it was still cool. It was still cool. It was great to drive, and it was just for work. Actually, 97 was the first year the Chevy Venture came out. They ran from 97 to 2005. This had a 3.4 liter engine. It was a V6, had some pep to it, and I loved it. And I have to say, after owning a van and not having one, I miss it. It was really convenient to put stuff in the back all the time. I mean, whether it was a bunch of garbage or getting rid of a bunch of leaves, bagged leaves this time of year, or transporting things for people. I helped probably 5 people move when I had that van. It really was a help. I mean, if you don't have a truck or a van, and then you get one, and then you don't have it anymore, you really miss out at the options you have with that kind of room. So I do miss it. I'd rather get a truck though. I don't think I'll get a van again, but I would love to get a truck in the future. Some beat up old truck I can fix up and make a country song out of. So moving on. So yeah, the Chevy Venture, by the way, you guys know, most of you know the deal with that one. That van, it broke on me, and I sold it in a panic so fast. I literally listed it, got a call, and sold it in an hour because I was so strapped for money for something. I'm not going to go into details for that, but I needed the money like that day. Sold the car for a ridiculous price. It was breaking. I couldn't use it anymore. And I sold it in such a hurry that I forgot a bunch of crap in the car, including one of my guns. And I have a whole series of videos on that drama if you're interested. But most of you guys already know that anyway. So then I had no car for 2 years, and that's when I lost all the weight because I was walking everywhere and riding my bike and motivated and exercising, and that was great and dandy. But I needed a car, and eventually I was talking to my friend Eric, super nice guy, and he's always doing some cool things, buying some cool cars and fixing them up and reselling them. And he just got a really cool 1987 Monte Carlo. I fell in love with it. And I bought it from him. I bought it from him for $1,700, and it was really cool. He really did me a solid with that. He usually makes a lot of money in the car, but he did a lot of stuff too. He put some really cool rims on it and stuff, and he sold me the car. He's like, "Look, I'm going to take these tires and rims off. They're worth more in the car." I'm like, "All right, yeah, that's fine." Gave me the original rims for it. Gave me some cool white wall tires. Eric really did hook me up. He's a really nice guy. And I used that car for the better part of almost 2 years. Absolutely love it. I do still have that car. It's kind of a project car. Runs fine. It does have an oil leak. I need an oil gasket, and apparently you have to lift up the engine for that. So it's like $300 to change that little rubber gasket out, which stinks, but I'll get it fixed up. It does need work. It needs some work, but it runs everywhere I drive it. I always get compliments. I mean, I love it. It's a fourth generation Monte Carlo, and it is the LS, not the SS. All right, it's the luxury sport. So it does have a little bit smaller of an engine. It's a 4.3 liter. It's 260 cubic inch Vortec 4300 V6. It's got some pep, but it is a heavy car. It is a G body, which were made from 82 to 88. And I love it. I cannot love that car anymore. Christina loves it too. she's probably going to be using the car soon. I mean, if we can't get something for her, but you know, it's got to get stored for winter. It is rear wheel drive, and it is really fun to drive in the winter, as I've made videos before doing donuts and stuff. Um, but it's not practical. It's not practical at all for winter driving. So it gets pretty much stored for the winter. I have classic plates on it, which is awesome for insurance purposes. But yeah, I love the Monte Carlo. They were made from 70 to 88, and then they stopped making them, and they came back in 95 to 2007, and then obviously stopped again. They did some couple facelifts, obviously from the 70s, had a couple different looks, but it always had that same style overall. From, you know, back from 1970 all the way to 2007, you can just tell the Montes, and I absolutely love it. I love the LS. I mean, of course, I would like an SS, but I have such an attachment, an emotional attachment to this car because it's just badass. I love it. I mean, the front bench seat is like sitting on, you know, your grandmother's couch. It is so comfortable to drive this car. It's so cool. And even though it's beat up and it needs to be painted and it's scratched to hell and, you know, all these problems with it, I still get compliments on it everywhere I go. You know, but everyone's always wrong. They're always like, "Oh, awesome!" You know, I had a Monte Super Sport, and you know, oh, what's that? The 350 cubic? Oh, what's that? The 350 cubic? No, no, it's a luxury sport. No one ever knows really what's going on with it. They just know it's a Monte Carlo. But yeah, that's a project car. I would love to do some stuff to that in the future. I do want to repaint it. There's a couple little things here and there. Maybe get some new wheels for it and stuff. But eventually, if it works out, I'd love to keep this car to give to my kid. You know, my son or daughter's first car, just because it's that cool. Eventually, if finances allow, I'd love to get a you know, just a small crate motor for it, give it some more oomph. Cool paint job. Maybe bring it to some shows. It's really fun to do something like that. But anyway, right now it is a project car and a backup vehicle. What I am driving currently, as you guys know, because I also made a video on this car, is a 2013 Chrysler. Has a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine. It's a 4-speed, has a shiftable automatic transmission. I do love the car. I still love it. I did a review on it, like officially talked about it and stuff. And right now I got about 22,000 miles on it. Drives like the day it was brand new. It's got scratches, of course. Black is hard to maintain. I still like that I picked black. I do like the looks of the car. My parents recently rented a 2015 Chrysler 200. And I see there's a lot of changes with the 2015 model. I like the front end. I don't like the rear. I don't like the blind spot, you know, driving. Interiorly, you know, they did a lot with storage space in the middle on the 2015s. And it's cool. It's got some bells and whistles and stuff. I don't like the button start, though. That's weird. I just like putting a key in the ignition. But anyway, that is pretty much it for this. I just wanted to talk about some of these cars. I mean, the Chrysler 200 that I'm driving now was my only new car. I went to the dealership, got that brand new, making payments on it. You know, who knows if it'll even be running by the time I, you know, stop making payments on it, but I do plan on paying it off and owning it eventually. If you maintain your vehicles and you keep fixing problems, there's no reason why you can't put 1,000,000 miles on your car. It's just some people don't. Some people get to a point where they need a repair and they can't afford to fix it. So that's when they sell the cars. That's when they trade them in. That's when they lease new cars. That's when people get rid of vehicles. But you know, realistically, if you just keep fixing them, you know, they'll keep working and you can drive them forever. But anyway, you can see that's my history of vehicles. A lot of 90s cars. I got a 1990, a 91, actually two 90s, a 91, two 97s, 2002, and a 2013. Oh, and then of course the 87 Monte Carlo. But yeah, that's my history of vehicles. I've talked about my car accident that I had in a past Storytime video. But I will talk about more car stuff in the future because I have some interesting stories, that I'm sure you guys will. So anyway, that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, did a little slideshow thing just to do something different. Next time I do a Storytime video, you will see my face talking if that's what you prefer. Actually, I might even be enjoying a cigar because I want to do another cigar review soon. So we'll see about that. So anyway, thanks for watching again, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Take it easy, guys.